you wide open!
Hello and welcome. Today I'm talking about Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, the second game developed by Owlcat Studios, and also the second game they've done based on the Pathfinder tabletop RPG, with the first one being Pathfinder Kingmaker. I'm a fan of the old Infinity Engine games and a fan of Dungeons & Dragons, both the IP and the actual role-playing game. I've played Dungeons & Dragons for years, starting with the 2nd edition, I played the 3rd edition, and I played a little bit of the 4th and 5th editions. But the version I've played the most was Dungeons & Dragons 3.5. And as I understand it, the Pathfinder tabletop role-playing game is essentially Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 with the Dungeons & Dragons removed. Well, not literally removed, it still has dungeons and it still has dragons, but it has the IP removed. I believe it's made by a number of the people who did the rule books and things for 3.5, and as they didn't like the direction that the 4th edition was going in, they went on and did their own thing, expanding upon the rule set that they liked. Anyway, it's something along those lines as far as I'm aware. I've never played that version of Pathfinder. My only experience with it is from playing Pathfinder Kingmaker. And I got that a number of years ago, played a bit of it, encountered a couple of bugs, died a bit, and just put it down, didn't come back to it, and I still haven't. But I have heard a lot of good things about it, but more so about Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I had been umming and ahhing about picking up for some time, but my not so great experience with Pathfinder Kingmaker had put me off. But I had a hankering for playing something new along these lines, as in an isometric CRPG, and I managed to pick up the Game of the Year edition for under £8. So here I am a few days later, and I've already sunk a fair number of hours into it, and I'm absolutely loving it. Now, one of the criticisms I'd heard about the game is the density of the rules and the mechanics. But as someone familiar with Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 and having played it extensively over the years and run many campaigns playing it, it really hasn't taken much for me to get into the swing of things with Pathfinder. The setup for Wrath of the Righteous sees you creating a character who ends up on the front line and later leading the 5th crusade against demonic forces pouring out of the underworld. The opening hour of the game quickly establishes the tone and apocalyptic stakes, and yeah, it's all pretty brutal, mythic and over the top. Much like in Baldur's Gate, you create your one character, you can recruit various companions along the way, and like in Pillars of Eternity, you can hire mercenaries and create other characters to fill out your party. So far I have only played the first act, and that has been pretty damn good. Where I've gotten to is starting the, second act or second chapter, has my character positioned as the head of this 5th crusade against the demons, and it has a crusade army management system which I haven't really delved into yet, but so far the writing is very good. Between the epic nature of the story, the way it progresses, and even the more personal moments or the character stories of your companions, everything seems really well written and well thought out. The choices I've made have already had some consequences. It's seeming like a very rich fantasy world with genuine consequences to your decisions. The scope of the character creation is massive. I went for a fairly straightforward fighter for my first playthrough. I may not even do more playthroughs. I understand the game is very large. It might be so large I don't feel like going through it again in a hurry, but I can already see some decisions that I've made which could play out very differently, so maybe I will. The combat is very crunchy and satisfying and suitably tactical. Primarily it's real time with pause like Pillars of Eternity and Baldur's Gate, although you can switch on a turn-based mode. Though I haven't tried that yet, and there's also a wealth of options for your difficulty and everything. I initially just stuck with everything on the standard default settings. Being fairly familiar with the mechanics of the game, I figured I'd be able to do alright, and so far I've been going through it pretty well. A couple of battles have been challenging, but for the most part I've been, I wouldn't say breezing through it, but yeah, getting through it at a decent rate. But I am still very much in the early game. I can safely say it's a really good start to the game, and that's taken me over 10 hours to get that far. From what I've read, I think there are 4 chapters in the base game, or 4 acts, whatever you want to call them, and I'd imagine the others are probably larger than the first. I have heard that it is a very large game, and I don't know if that just applies to the base game or if that's including the DLC. But either way, I think I'm going to be playing it for quite a while just on this first playthrough. Anyway, I think I've covered almost everything I can for this first impressions video. You can probably tell from the footage the game looks pretty nice. I mean, it's not your full-on AAA technical powerhouse, not even to the same state that, say, Baldur's Gate 3 was. But it's a good-looking game that's well presented. It's very familiar territory in many ways if you play things like Baldur's Gate. The soundtrack is also very good. Well, maybe not on par with things like Baldur's Gate, Icewind Dale, or even Pillars of Eternity. But it's still good and it suits the atmosphere of the game. The voice work, what there is also very good. And so far I haven't encountered any bugs. I think I've encountered a tiny bit of slowdown when there's been a lot going on, but nothing major. At this point I think I've rambled on enough for first impressions. I'm not sure if I'll do any more videos on this or not, as there are a wealth of videos out there already, particularly by Multismal Gaming. He's done a whole load of bunch of guides and everything, and they kind of say everything that needs to be said about it. So I may do a review once I've finished the game, maybe, if I feel I have something worth saying beyond, check it out and I like it. So yeah, we shall see on that front. Anyway, I'm really going to wrap it up this time, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Make every strike count.